What's up, family? In today's video, we'll be looking at spiritual and enlightening TikToks that will help you raise those vibrations.
Hey, real quick, check this out. I don't know who needs to hear this, but I just want to say this. Never let anybody tell you or decide for you, right, who you are. You got to make that decision for yourself. Because like I always say, when you're by yourself, right, you learn more things about yourself. You know you better than anybody else who knows you. So think about that for today. Ask yourself, who are you? And who do you want to be for you? That's all I want to say. I love you and I'm proud of you. Don't you ever forget that.
Peace. It's time. Everything is coming online right now. Christ consciousness is fully online and all false things will fall. This message is for anyone that is staying in their hearts and staying true to themselves to continue to stay true. Because right now, I feel Yeshua. I feel the great white lions standing around him, preparing. We're getting close to Easter Sunday, so it is a full resurrection for all of us that have been staying true. As much of things have broken our hearts, as losing friendships, as losing family has broken our hearts because we've stayed true to our mission and we stayed true to ourselves. This is a continuation to stay true. The kingdom and the queendom of heaven is fully online, and no matter what is falling around us, the old paradigms that are falling around us, the chaos that is going on, this is a reminder to stay in your heart, to keep your flame lit, to keep your Christ flame lit, because this is the resurrection. I promise you all, I'm telling you, this stuff is biblical, this transition time. It could be written about in the Bible. And so this is just a reminder that staying true to yourself is working, and it won't always be seen, but it can be felt. This is the same sort of energy, I believe, that and consistency of reminder that Noah had to keep within himself when he was building the ark. We have to keep that same passion of faith, that we are building our own personal arks in order to be vessels for the Christ Sophia consciousness, because it is a hierogamic union, a hierogamic divinity of not just Christ, but Sophia, the Magdalene energy as well. We are going to be doing this together with our partners, whether you're doesn't matter what your partnership is. The women are going to have a voice again. The divine feminine is going to have a full voice again, because the true divine masculine is fully online now. Excalibur is online right now. The true kings are coming out of the, the true kings are going to be coming out of the woodworks. There's going to be a lot of other men's groups and a lot of other men getting prepared to protect the feminine so she can fully speak and lead and co-lead. So continue to stay true to yourself. May the power of Excalibur, which is the sword of truth, protect all the children of God. May the shield of God protect all of the children of God. May the divine masculine rise so that the divine feminine can fully rise in authenticity. And we're going to continue to not build the new earth, bring back the original. All you ancients rise. All you dragons rise that are of truth and that are of the light. The rainbow rounds, the rainbow tables of all of those that are coded, fully coded. And if you don't know what I mean, that's okay. But for those of you that resonate, you know what I'm talking about.
Your mind is your garden. Your thoughts, on the other hand, are the seeds which you choose to grow. So my today's question to you, which seed do you want to grow? You can't expect peace to grow out of a mind filled with chaos, doubt, hesitation. And you can't expect joy to grow out of a mind filled with worrying, insecurities, pressure, stress. Positive thinking isn't about ignoring reality, ignoring the problem, living in a fantasy. No, it's about shifting your focus on how to be more productive, shifting your focus on how to think of the solution instead of wasting your time worrying about the problem. Choose wisely what you want to focus on. Be more intentional. Stop yourself. Control yourself. And if you don't like the way that you're thinking, stop it. Shift your focus on how to be more productive. Shift your focus on the solutions. That's how growth starts. And follow for more.
I think we forget that life was never meant to be understood. It was meant to be felt. We spend so much time trying to figure everything out, trying to fix, explain, solve, control. But life is not a puzzle, it's a wave. And you were never meant to carry the wave. You were meant to let it move through you. The joy, the fear, the heartbreak. The moments that didn't make sense until much later. You were never broken. You were becoming.
Keep waiting for a voice from the sky, but sometimes God speaks in silence. God doesn't always speak how you expect. Sometimes it's not a voice, it's a knowing. A shift in your spirit. A heavy feeling when you try to force something. A peace you can't explain when you choose what doesn't even make sense. God speaks through redirection, through delays, through doors that don't open, through people who leave, through the things that you thought were losses, but now you see it was your protection. He speaks through patterns, through restlessness, through conviction, through alignment. And when you're in tune with him, you stop looking for these signs and tune in with their spirit. God's voice isn't always loud, but it's always clear when you silence the noise.
That there are times where you're like, God, I can't pretend to understand. I trust you, but I can't wrap my mind around why it had to be this way. I thank you that I found you. I thank you that I have a relationship with you, but it's some stuff I'll never understand. I don't know why some good people die and some bad people live. I just don't understand. I got to be honest. I want to be real. I know we're transparent, real unedited. There's some things that you won't understand, and you got to trust God in the process. Like, God, I'm trying to build my faith in you, but I don't understand why my family had to be homeless and why we had to go through what we went through, and I don't understand how some bad people get away and some good people get caught, and how some people who don't value get everything, and people who live in value get nothing. There's some stuff I'm struggling with. I'm trying to figure you out, but God, this is a complexity.
This is your dream that you have, that you need to realize, and that you can't expect them to do what you should do about it. And you're going to go through an unnecessary amount of hell trying to figure out why it is that they aren't willing to believe or be a part in it the way that you want them to. You're going to hurt yourself trying to get them to see it, or wreck your brain trying to understand what you can do to get their support or help in trying to make it happen. But if you don't do nothing else, you better find you a way to do without it. You better stop expecting someone to see with their eyes something God gave only you to see. You've been trying to include way too many people and participants in a process of becoming principal characters in your progress that, quite honestly, only you can be. Mm-hmm. This is your dream. No one is going to, nor do they have to, believe it the way that you need to believe it in order for it to come true. But you better believe this. No one is ever going to believe in a dream that the person having it ain't 100% confident, committed, and accountable for. And you ain't been that all the way. You've been inconsistent, and you're ignorant of some factors. Your equation is incomplete. So their cooperation is probably not ever going to come through. Plus, you're not seeing that a lot of the times the greatest gift someone can give you is to get out of the way and let you do it on your own. Not because they can't or they don't want to help, but because if they take part in it, they'll take away the part that is you playing the most important part in the production of it. And that's just not their role. There's a reason that you're being restricted to this being only your responsibility. There is a specific point that only you can prove. More people than you think are conscious of your ability and what you can achieve. The fact of the matter is that they've accepted that you are capable of acquiring everything that you make an action towards. But there is a specific lesson and learning opportunity mandatory in this moment that has to be gotten and that only you can use. You need to know just how much it is going to cost for you to accomplish this, and that can only happen if you're the one paying the price. Every detail, detour, devastating setback is as deliberate as is your destiny. You are being groomed by this experience. And I'm not saying that that's right. But if this is what you want, you're going to have to want it and work on it, working through whatever way that takes you without having someone or thing to fall back on. You're going to have to push forward no matter what might be trying to pull you back. The road, the climb is going to be rough, but you have to fall. and then you have to get back on. No excuses, no exceptions, and you are not exempt from having to explain yourself way more than you think you need to. You already got one hell of a story about how much it's taken for you to have it this hard, but you make it look so easy. And some people are just never going to believe you. Some people are never going to see you as being in desperate need, doing bad, and definitely not in dire straits. And because you carry it so well, from their perspective, they're going to assume that you can handle all of the pressure, the problems, and being put in the position to have to practice patience. Poor baby. That's probably going to drive you nuts. And you won't be able to do a thing about it, but be persistent and not take it personal the entire way. Until and after you've done what you said and completed the assignment and are the proof of what a dream come true looks like. And what you have to do that is keep doing, even when you don't know what to do, because you have to get it done. And there is no only way that looks like, because it looks like hard work and hustle. It looks like favor and luck, no support, all the support in the world, love, hate, being included, isolation. It looks like all kinds of stress, struggle, sacrifice, one thing after another, and then something else, and all kinds of waiting. But it's your dream, and it's up to you to believe it, to bring it to pass, to do whatever you can about it in order to see it through. As long as you do your best to give yourself the best chance at realizing it, you can't worry about a they that will want to be a bigger part of the picture at some point. But just let them sleep now. They'll wake up after what they see you do.
The dream, especially your dream, is all on you. Nobody else. Can't expect nobody else to do you any favors either, because everyone has their own vision of what reality is. We're all living reality separate from one another. Just think about it, right? You can explain your dream to somebody, right? And the way they perceive it is going to be completely different than what you think it is, right? So you can have 3 or 4 people in a room. You'll explain your dream to them, right? And all of them will have a different perception of what that dream is and what it takes to achieve that dream. So at the end of the day, it's all on you. It's your life. Live it.
Do we know who we dealing with and who we worship? And we be nervous at the enemy's attack when I got the full force of a glorified Jesus? What? That's why I'm thumbed out in the kingdom. I ain't nervous at no demonic attack. I got the full force of a glorified Jesus. What you talking about? Why your head always down when you serve a glorified Jesus? I'll fight a devil in a minute. Ain't backing down from no fight. Watch. I ain't walking away. I'm not gonna abandon him. Why you always afraid? Why you can't step out on faith when the person that will catch you is a glorified Jesus?
God can handle every single one of those emotions that you feel like are consuming you. That anger, that resentment, that unforgiveness, that frustration, that heartache. And instead of holding on to them as tight as you have for so many years, it's time to let them go. Give them to God. We have this religious mindset that says we have to have it all together all the time, and it's just not the truth. You want me to go first? I've yelled at God. I cried at God yesterday. I've also begged God to take the pain away. I've cried in his arms. I've opened up about the fact that I wish I could just quit this Christian thing sometimes. But it all leads me back to, God, thank you for being a God that understands. He knows that it's hard. He knows that it hurts. And just like all of the stories in the Bible, my favorite are the Psalms and the book of Habakkuk. By the time you're done letting out how you feel, not only do you feel like God is close and near to you, he cares about how you feel, but then you understand that your feelings will never change, that God will always show up as God. He's the I am that I am. Strength when you need it, the love when you need it, the truth when you feel like you can't handle it, the comfort. Let God know how you feel so that he can lead your feelings right back to your faith.
I am that I am.
Your job isn't to die for them, it's to live in truth. It's to carry your own cross, not theirs. You can love them without rescuing them, and you can care without controlling. And sometimes love looks like stepping back so they can finally see their need for Jesus instead of leaning on your broken shoulder. God allows pain to open blind eyes, but when we swoop in to rescue, we're not helping, we're delaying their awakening. You're probably exhausted because you're living a role you were never cast to play. That burden you feel isn't holy, it's heavy. And it's heavy because it's not yours. Matthew 11 verse 28, Jesus says, "Come to me, all who are wearied and burdened, and I will give you rest." How will you come to him if you're too busy carrying them? You have to learn to let go, not out of apathy, but out of faith. The God who spun galaxies doesn't need our constant intervention to fix one person. He simply needs us to surrender them. How will they ever see their true need for Christ if we keep getting in the way?
I had an encounter with the Holy Spirit. I got out of jail, I still didn't live a Christian lifestyle. Still wasn't a Christian, still was chasing money, women, pills, and all. So the seed was planted in me from my cellmate. What watered the seed was my friend, Nero. He was a drug dealer. He was serving drugs. And the girl that he was serving drugs to, she got on the phone and said, "Hey, yeah, I'm with him right now. Okay, yeah, you want to get something? Hey, I got somebody else who want to buy something from you." He said, "Bet, bring him through." She get out the car, somebody come and shoot his car up, and he's shot. After he gets shot, he drive off to the nearest house to go get help. Get on the phone with his mom and said, "Mom, I'm dying, I just got shot." I heard the phone call. I got to listen to the phone recording. She said, "You better call on Jesus, call on Jesus, call on Jesus." She lost her son to the streets already. He lost a brother to the streets already. This dude is a drug dealer, bro. He wasn't a holy man. He wasn't a righteous man. He was a womanizer, a hoe, serving drugs to people that don't help people. He tried to walk to the nearest house. After he get out of his car, so much blood on the scene. He get on his knees. He couldn't walk no more. He said, "Jesus, forgive the shooter and forgive me for my sins." When they got to him, he was pronounced dead. There was no life in his body. They took him to the hospital. He was back into his body. They thought it was a ghost. They ran. They say it's a miracle. You're not supposed to be alive right now. Do you know what he told me? He said, "Where I just was, I'm gonna be back." After he told Jesus, "Come into my heart, forgive me for my sins," after he took his last breath on earth, God allowed him to be in heaven. And he was sharing with me everything that he saw in the spiritual realm. This life here is temporary. Have you ever thought to yourself, why do I die? You ever thought to yourself? As a kid, dog, I'm like, why do I have to die? It's not fair for me to experience joy with my friends and family, and then I forget. It's not fair that I experience this life, and then what? I just vanish? It's no more John? I'm just gone? That's not fair. As a kid, I thought, well, you know what? It's true truth to it. We don't just vanish. We was never supposed to die. Sin brought that. When you go out there and you see a tree with no leaves, that's death. That wasn't like that before sin came. When you go out there and see the grass rotting and all the brown in the grass, that's death. That was never in the world. When my friend got shot and died, he continued living. But the only reason why he continued to live is because he said, "Jesus, forgive me for my sins." Before he took his last breath, he got to live. When your spirit leave your body, you're going to be dead or alive. Death is separated from your creator. He got to be united with his creator because he said, "Jesus, forgive me for my sins." What he was doing on this earth was wrong. It was wrong. But his mom said, "Hey, if you about to die, you better call on Jesus." And he did that. And Jesus said, "I forgive you for your sins." What he was sharing with me and what he saw is what truly made me give my life to Christ. Even after I had my own encounter. Because I said, one day I'm going to take my last breath. And if I'm going to take my last breath, then I need to make sure that I'm going to continue living. Because my brother, my friend who I actually know, played ball with, hoop with, at his house with, who I witnessed, now shot, pronounced dead, heard the voice recording, said he'd rather be back where he was than to be on this earth with his wife and kids. I believe that.
This one was tailor-made for you. It is Thank God Thursday. Yep, you heard it right. Thank God Thursday. If you woke up this morning, you ought to give God thanks. When you make it to work, you ought to give God thanks. When you swipe your car and it comes back approved, you ought to give God thanks, because there's been some times when we didn't swipe that card and we are already in the city of overdraft. I never want to fall under a curse because I walk a life without thanking God. What breaks my heart as a father more than anything is when I done spent $120 for a meal and everybody in the family forgot to say, Daddy, thank you for that meal. Just imagine how it feels to God when he blesses his children every day, showers us with gifts every day, and we forget to say thank you. I'll never forget about this narrative in the Word of God when there were 10 lepers who were sick. The Bible said Jesus healed them. 9 went on their way rejoicing, but only 1 came back and said, Lord, I thank you. The Bible said that 1 leper that came back and said, thank you, he left whole. He left whole. Just imagine how many areas in your life have not been made whole because you don't have a heart of thanksgiving. Thank God Thursday.
God doesn't ask you to let it go because he wants you to be weak. He tells you to step back because he's the only one strong enough to get justice without becoming evil in the process. Romans 12 verse 19 says, Beloved, never avenge yourselves, but leave it to the wrath of God. For it is written, Vengeance is mine, says the Lord, I will repay. God is the only one who has all the evidence and sees every single motive. He's the only one who can strike with precision and not miss. We're too limited, too emotionally tangled, and too biased. We don't know the whole picture. Oftentimes we're reacting to what they did, but God's reacting to what they plan to do 5 years from now. When you try to get even, you don't just hurt them, you end up destroying pieces of yourself. You don't just attack the enemy, you tarnish the image of God in you. Because now you're acting in hate instead of holiness. You're playing God with half the facts, and that's not justice. That's pride dressed in pain. Oftentimes, letting God fight for you looks like staying silent while he rearranges the battlefield behind the scenes. So you don't have to chase receipts and pray for karma and dream about what you should have said. You have to remember that God doesn't just settle scores. He writes comeback stories that make hell regret ever messing with you.
What's your comeback story going to be? These are some of the most spiritual and enlightening TikToks that are out there. If you like the content, don't forget to subscribe, turn your notification bells on, and until next time, YouTube, peace.